I have been looking forward today at Manchester Theatres for quite some time because I am chatting with actor, comedian and writer Alex Lowe. He is the creator of the fabulous psychic character Clinton Baptiste, who Alex is taking on tour with a brand new one called Roller Coaster. It is going to be starting its tour on the 28th of March, going all across the country for the best part of a year, but there are plenty of opportunities for you to catch it across the Northwest, in places such as Chorley Theatre, Bolton Albert Halls, Bury Met, Middleton Arena, Buxton Opera House, plus loads more. Now, Alex started out at the tender age of 14 in showbiz and being in the original West End production of Another Country. He has gone on to be in numerous programmes and films such as Haunted, Much Ado About Nothing, Peter's Friends, with Kenneth Branagh and a whole host of other people. And his comedy skills have meant that he's been on shows such as Bremner, Bird and Fortune. He's been on the Fast Show, Grass, the 11 o'clock news, and as well as our lovely Clinton Baptiste, he is also known for his other larger-than-life ego, Barry from Watford, who, of course, we know as well from the late, great Steve Wright's radio show. But we're not going to delve into Barry too much today. It's got to be about Clinton and your new tour. So thank you so much for joining us, Alex. I really appreciate it.
Oh, I'm glad to be here. Thank you. I sound so old, all these old things from hundreds of years ago. But anyway, yeah.
Well, you don't look it. That's the thing.
Thank you.
So Roller Coaster, tell us all about what we can kind of expect from this tour. And for anyone who might not have seen the Clinton Baptiste character on tour before, maybe what they could expect as well.
Well, Clinton Baptiste is a sort of terrible clairvoyant medium psychic who is very unsubtle, undiplomatic, and he originated in Phoenix Nights, Peter Kay's Phoenix Nights. He was written by, I'd love to lay claim to creating him. I didn't really. Peter wrote him, Dave Spikey and Neil Fitzmaurice. Luckily, Peter very kindly lets me perform Clinton now, all these years later. And I've sort of fleshed it out because it was originally, 5 minutes in one episode of Phoenix Nights. And now I've sort of built this huge history for Clinton, and it's his fourth UK tour. Roller Coaster it's the usual stuff I've done where Clinton gives readings in the audience. He's very unsubtle, but I don't think I ever say anything that's too upsetting for people. It's cheeky. It's pretty much the usual service. Clinton goes around. It's a parody of all those people like psychic Sally Morgan and Derek Acora, Doris Stokes, these people who were contacting the dead. And Clinton has all these supernatural skills. But I think in the way that British people, we love to see the cogs working, we like a plucky loser in this country, and we can sort of see how it's working for Clinton. There's nothing very subtle. It's all a load of kind of sleight of hand rubbish.
And like you say, you've created this huge backstory for Clinton. Like you say, we saw him in Peter Kay's Phoenix Nights, but he's taken on this life force of his own with tours, with podcasts, an array of fans in this world, probably the next world as well.
Yeah.
So tell us, like, we know that you've got this backstory. So what is Clinton's story?
Well, his story is really that he was discovered by Phoenix Nights. We don't really go back too much before that. I don't really mention Phoenix Nights or anything like that. But his backstory is that he discovered his skills very early in life. He did sort of cruises, and he did a variety of working men's clubs, scout huts, people's front rooms, coming up the scale. And gradually he sort of got into a position now where he does readings for some very Z-list celebrities, none of whom I'm going to mention now. So he's sort of getting somewhere now. We've kind of established we've done 3 tours now. And so I think the idea is that he's got bigger and better, but he's still as kind of cumbersome and clumsy as he ever was. This is from my podcast, he lives in a block of flats He has a couple of strange people who are his acolytes, who one of whom is a bit of a stalker. And he's just trying to get by with his usual stick, really. There's nothing has changed an awful lot. So on this one, the added bonus of this one is that we're going to get to meet his spirit guide, Taruak, who is a Greenlandic Inuit, who hopefully will be appearing at some point in the show towards the end. So stick around, don't leave it during the interval.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. And when you started with this character, I mean, did you kind of ever have any idea that it was, because like you say, it was a bigger show, and it
Yeah.
was this like sort of little bit, and then it's grown into this huge thing, and it is phenomenal.
Yeah, well, I didn't. Of course, I had no idea. But honestly, Peter is such a brilliant writer. I trust him. What happened was at the time, 22 years ago, whenever it was that we did it, um, always thought this is a great opportunity to do this as a cabaret character. And I was always on the lookout for something I could do. If you're a jobbing actor, you do sit around the whole time
Yeah.
waiting for the phone to ring. And I always, always love stand up and cabaret and that sort of thing. So I was on the lookout for something to do, a character I could do. And it wasn't quite right at the time, I don't think. But then in 2015, when we did Phoenix Nights live at Manchester Arena for Comic Relief, I asked Peter, and he said, "Oh yeah, that's fine." And so we sort of have an agreement. I always keep Peter in the loop about doing the character, and so to answer your question, no, I had absolutely no idea, but I am so grateful that it is something that I can do because, as I say, you don't want to spend your career waiting for the world to beat a path to your door. It's really great to go out and do it. And the wonderful thing is, if you go and do stand-up comedy or character nights or whatever it is, you go there, you do your 20 minutes, half an hour, what it is, you take your money, and you can go home. There's no having a meeting about a meeting about a
Yeah.
meeting, and then the production, and the producer drops out, and then there's no money, and you can just do it and go home. And it's kind of, I mean, I am much more of an actor than I am a stand-up comic. So I have spent years and years and years being utterly terrified, sitting above pubs thinking, oh God, please make it go away. So it's a bit of a steep learning curve, and you meet comedians who are just kind of very single-minded, and it's just them on their own. If you're an actor who's been with used to being with a company of actors, it's a bit of a different culture. But as I say, I'm so grateful that that Peter's allowed me to do it.
So from the acting side of it, then,
Mm.
because obviously that your trait, you've got your acting and all that. The voice of Clinton. How do you
Yeah,
kind of vocally protect yourself while doing that on
that's a
tour? I mean, this is going to be the best part of the
yeah.
year.
That is a very good question. And I've spoken to a couple of people. I'm going to not be talking to anyone between shows. Um, for some reason, I think I do have quite a high voice. I find it particularly difficult to get right up here, talking right up there, like Joe Pasquale or something. But I just, I don't know. I don't find that so difficult. I think talking for an hour and it's probably going to be an hour and 20 minutes every night is quite a tall order, but you have a microphone. It's not like you have to, just rely on projection.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very good question. And it's my mortal terror that I'm going to lose my voice, but I hope I won't.
Well, it's psychic, so it's okay. You can just project it into the minds of
Good
everybody.
idea. Good idea. Very good.
So when you're putting your tour together, material wise, and you've mentioned obviously others like people who say that they can talk to the spirit world. Do you kind of go and watch these things for inspiration?
Yes, I've seen it live. I've also seen, I mean, people are always sending me details if there's a psychic on at a local pub or something. And I think, well, actually, there's tons and tons and tons of this online.
Yeah.
You can look up tons of it on YouTube. There's someone, I won't mention her name, but she's on TikTok. And every morning I watch her and I think, what a load of nonsense. So Yeah, I mean, I have done a lot of research with that sort of thing, and it's always trying to find those tropes that those
Yeah.
people use. And I hope, I really would love to carry on doing this. I hope we don't just exhaust it and people say, yeah, I've got it now. He's a guy who's not a very good clairvoyant medium, but I think it's sort of endless.
Yeah, I
To,
do.
to be honest, I always think, and this is no disrespect to secondhand car salesman. Clinton is just a chancer, and if it wasn't this, he'd be doing something else, which is sort of a little bit dodgy. So I think sometimes the clairvoyant, medium, psychic stuff is just a conduit for doing this kind of great character who's a bit of a charlatan.
Do you ever get anyone coming along who, even though they know it's this created character and it's a comedy piece, do you ever
Yeah.
kind of get someone believing and like thinking that it
Yes.
is a real thing?
Yeah, we have that we did a show at Canterbury, and a whole row of people very nicely dressed turned up, and someone told me, he was in the audience, that they could hear them saying, isn't it odd that he's got a stand-up comic to do his warm-up? And then I came on as Clinton, and about 10 minutes into it, the whole row got up and walked out. So, and of course you're there thinking, oh no, what did I say? But I think the thing is, they were really hoping to contact a member of their family. So that was kind of upsetting that they hadn't thought that it was a joke.
Yeah.
But also I get, I've said this a number of times, but I get people who, I give out feathers. It's a celestial feather from spirit's wings. And very often I've heard, quite often, women say, no, that is a sign. That is a sign that is actually a sign. I always think it's a sign that I went to Hobbycraft not long before and picked up a bag of feathers. That's the only sign. But I like it. People are sort of into it. And then quite often people, I can name 3 occasions recently where someone's come backstage and said, yes, I know it's all a parody, but there were members of your family on stage with you tonight, and that sort of thing.
Wow.
Which, I mean, I find a comfort,
Yeah.
but I will say this: if I ever see a ghost or a spirit does appear, I am really dreading that, because I think what I'll do is I'll just say, that's it, it's all real, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that
far,
might
that's
get-
not happened. Touch wood.
So this tour, it's a biggie, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a long one. So like we've talked about vocally and with the work and everything, how you might prepare, but just on a more practical level, physically and like organization and being away from home and all of that, how do you kind of mentally sort of and practically get yourself in that place?
Yeah, that you're right. It's a very difficult thing. I've got, my kids have left home now, but I've got my wife. She's going to be at home with the dog. I've got my mum. Yeah, it is a bit of a tall order. But I'm not away the whole time. It's kind of half a week, so I can come home. But yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of practicalities. I've got to do my tax. I've got this sort of thing. You can see all these papers and stuff in my office here. So yeah, that's not the easiest thing. And the other thing, of course, is that I've been on a bit of a diet. I've been trying to get fit. And when you're away, you go to motorway service stations. You've got to find what you can eat. The temptation to just stuff your face with a load of burgers or whatever, which I love, but I can't do that this time. It's that, yeah, those practicalities are a bit of a problem, but I think honestly, as I'm getting old now, I've just got to do the show, keep my mouth shut. I have my tour manager, Alex, who drives me around. We're just going to sit in the car, get to the next hotel. And I mean, I kind of love that, going to hotels. I never understand when you get the Rolling Stones or whoever says, "Oh, it's another hotel room." I think, great. What's not to like about going to a hotel? I love it.
Yeah.
Someone makes you a bed, they cook you breakfast. What else do you want?
I know, little cups of coffee and biscuits and
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
it's all there. It's all warm. You're not paying for the central heating. I love it. Yeah.
Now, I wanted to ask you, go off the tour a little bit just for a personal thing, because I loved the film Peter's Friends when I was growing up.
Oh,
I was obsessed.
oh, how
I
lovely.
had the soundtrack. I wore the tape out. I had to buy another one. Honestly, I was obsessed with that film and the
Okay.
names in it. My goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that experience like?
Well, it was really fantastic. I mean, I lived in Leytonstone in northeast London, and it was sort of being picked up in the morning well, first of all, being picked up by
At
a
all.
guy in a nice car was great. And it was sort of done in order of seniority because those more senior actors could get longer in bed. So about 5 in the morning, someone would pick me up as the lowliest, youngest member of the company. And then we'd go to Hugh Laurie's house in Tufnell Park, pick him up. Then we'd go to Stephen Fry's. And I'd be sitting in this car thinking, these are my comedy heroes. And then we'd go to this lovely sort of country house in North London and film this thing. And Tony Slattery, who was a kind of mate of
Yeah,
mine, still a friend of mine, he was in it, and Emma Thompson and Imelda Staunton. And it was just so thrilling. And what used to happen, because I was Kenneth Branagh's stand-in for a while as well. He'd put me in the films, and I would stand in for him. So I was there for the whole thing. It didn't mean that I just turned up. And God knows I have spent most of my career it's called a day player, where you turn up and you sitting in a porter cabin for a couple of days and you go and do your scenes. So it was really lovely to be there for the whole shoot. And then, later on that summer, we did Much Ado About Nothing in Italy. And then so I went and, had a lovely villa and lived with Brian Blessed for like 6 weeks or something. Which was at its
wow.
moment. Yeah, exactly as you imagine it, that was. And so, it was really great, a really, really great time. And it's never been quite as good since, going and it was a long time ago.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was amazing, an amazing film. And even to the point where when you kind of like, I've not seen that in a while. I'm gonna watch it again. I am gonna watch
Yeah.
that one again. Yeah, it's a
Oh,
great
that's
one.
good. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah. I was thinner and I had more hair in those days, but there you are.
Also, very quickly, what about Barry from Watford? We can't leave him out. We can't leave him
No.
out. So talk to us about him. How's he doing?
Well, he's all right. Me and Barry are so upset about poor Steve Wright dying.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was really upsetting, and that was another big thrill in my career to go into the studio and be with him. Sort of at my age, those people. I know young people don't realize this, but these were household names. Steve Wright and Simon Bates and Bruno Brooks and those Radio 1
yeah.
DJs. And to be working with him was just so thrilling. I did that for about 10 years off and on, playing that character. So what I really want to do is bring Barry back as soon as I get Clinton on the road. And I'm going to try and get Barry to support Clinton for the next tour,
Oh,
which I hope is going to work. And I hope my voice can
yeah,
hold out
that's
for
gotta
that.
be a lot.
Yeah, so I really want to do Barry. People are always asking me about Barry, but he's taken a bit of a back seat for Clinton, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. And so, Clinton, what has he given you any, apart from obviously the success of his tour in 2024, has he given you any predictions of what we can kind of expect?
He's seeing a very bright future for you, my love. Very, very bright for you. Sun is shining. It's just come out. Look, see, there's a skylight above me. That's for you, my love. Um, no, we're expecting good things, great things. Honestly, it's pretty miserable, isn't it?
It has been
Everything's
a bit
pretty
miserable, yeah.
miserable. So I think it's everything is going to get better. I'm sure it is. I just think round the corner is a really much brighter day. And this is not me just trying to flog my own show, but I like to think this is really going to be a good old laugh. There's
Yeah.
nothing complicated about it. It's probably pushing the barriers of what's acceptable. I'm sure we'll have some complaints with people who think it's I don't know what they're going to think, but I mean it's funny and it's ironic, and I don't think anyone can take offense.
No.
We'll soon find out.
people will always find something, but then you're
Yeah.
doing a good job, really. To
I
be
suppose
honest.
so. I mean, there are some people who think that's part of the evening to go out. They think that's the follow-up where they have to complain about it. I mean, I'm offended by stuff, but I don't always feel the need. I don't curl up in a ball and
No.
start crying. You go, it's not for me. That's
Yeah,
it.
just crack on with it. Yeah.
Crack on with it. It's fine. No one
Yeah.
got hurt. But I think it's really honestly funny. And we've spent so long writing it. I've been writing it with Brendan O'Hay, who you might have seen recently. Dame Judi Dench has got this book out about acting Shakespeare.
Oh
So
yeah.
Brendan wrote it with her.
Ah.
So he is my director. He's a fantastic director at the RSC and at the Globe in London. And we have been, God bless him. I mean, he doesn't get paid much money. He's been sitting with me on Zoom like this, writing this thing for months and months and months on end. If you could, you can't see it, but over here, I'm trying to learn the lines this very second. Because you write all this stuff and you think, I can't actually remember it. I'm the one who wrote it. I can't remember it. So,
Yeah.
but I think you can, and hopefully I'll see you there.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Let me
Yeah.
know.
I'm still kind of looking at the dates and which one's the best to go to. I'm
Okay.
actually in Bury, so maybe Bury Met. Who knows?
Yeah, I
Um,
hope so. I hope
yeah,
so.
but
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. I'll definitely be there, and
Great.
yeah, I will come and say hello. Um,
Definitely.
well, mind you, Clinton will know which one I'm going to come to, so it's all good.
He knows already. He
He
knows
knows, doesn't
already.
he?
Yeah.
He
And he
knows
knows you're
before
going to have a
I do.
lovely time. He knows all about it.
Alex, thank you so much for joining us. As we've said, the tour roller coaster is starting on the 28th. It's actually starting in Chorley, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, very local to all of us. Come along, grab a ticket, and we will see you all there. Thank you so much, Alex, and all the best.
Namaste. Shalama. Shakatak.
Thank you.